There's nothing wrong with you. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. You're not lazy. You're not motivated. You want to be successful. You just don't know how to be successful right now. In today's episode of The Buzz, you are going to hear a clip of a recent webinar I did, 4X your life insurance production. We had tremendous feedback on this webinar, tremendous results following the webinar. And so we wanted to share a majority of it with you on today's podcast with the Insurance Buzz. We appreciate you. And what you can expect from today's clip is you are going to be able to actually understand and learn how to specifically target and talk to homeowners within your book of business, both on service transactions, creating campaigns to call them, and also bringing up life insurance in that new business P&C sales conversation. I'm going to teach you the exact framework of how to position yourself as a professional so that you don't feel sleazy anymore, you don't feel salesy, you don't feel unconfident, you don't have fear around the life insurance conversation, to where you know when you pivot into the conversation, the exact ask to get them interested, and then the questions that follow that actually get them emotionally engaged and interested in having a conversation with you. So again, you don't feel pushy. It's not like you're trying to just push life insurance down someone's throat. So I hope that you enjoy today's episode, and I hope that you go ahead and click the link and check out the whole webinar after today's episode. With that being said, let's start the show. Welcome to today's 4X your life insurance production in the next 20 days. So hey, today again is going to be all about increasing your life insurance production and ultimately simplifying success in life insurance sales by really understanding. The point of today is to understand, hey, words matter. The types of questions I'm asking matters. If you are here to learn how to just package life insurance in a P&C conversation, or transactionally sell life insurance, or sell life insurance on price, you're at the wrong place. You're at the wrong place. You might as well get out of here, because that is not what you are going to learn today. Everything you're going to learn today is the exact questions to ask to get the customer emotionally involved in the conversation, the questions to ask, the words to use, so that your customer feels like you are speaking directly to their pain point, right? Let me introduce myself real fast. So my name's Michael Weaver. I've been in the insurance industry for 15 years now. I know I'm going to date myself a little bit, but 15 years. I worked my way up just like many of you, more than likely. I was a producer. I first got my start in the insurance industry by being their marketing expert, which really meant cold calling an errand boy, right? And eventually I proved myself, fell in love with insurance sales, and back then the money that you could make. And so I decided to become a producer. Then my wife and I opened a scratch insurance agency with a captive insurance carrier back in 2014. And then in 2018, we started Weaver Sales Academy, which is a sales training and coaching organization for insurance professionals. To date, we've worked with over 10,000 insurance professionals across the country. And so I am super excited to be here today, because success in sales hasn't always been easy. Look, I used to be terrible at life insurance sales, and I'll get into that here in just a little bit. I want to start this off with a couple questions. So number one, I'd be interested to know, what are some of your biggest struggles that you think you have in the life insurance conversation? So what is your current struggle with life insurance? Please put that in the comment section, because my goal today is to address as many struggles as I can. And so I'd be curious, do you struggle with knowing how to bring it up? So how to start the conversation? Do you struggle with maybe the question? So many of you are probably really comfortable with how to bring it up, like the pivot in. But what I find is you struggle with the questions to ask after the initial pivot. Who struggles with that, right? So it's either how to bring up life insurance, maybe the questions to ask to actually get someone interested in having a life insurance conversation with you. How about, do any of you feel sleazy? Any of you feel sleazy when it comes to life insurance? Do you ever feel like just a product pusher? Do you feel like you're just checking your life insurance ask like a task that you have to do every single day to keep your boss happy, right? Do any of you feel that way? If you do, put sleazy. If you've ever felt salesy, please put that. Please let me know, because here's the thing, and I'm asking this because one could say that I used to suck at life insurance, right? I was terrible at it. PNC, I was pretty good at PNC, but I just never could figure out life insurance. I could never figure out how to ask the question. Like, I knew the pivot in, but every conversation went the same, right? I would say something to the nature of, hey, Michael, before I let you off the phone, what's your life insurance plan look like, right? And they would say, well, I got it through work. And then I would go into all the reasons why they need to own their policy, why work isn't good, why if they ever leave their job, why if they lose their job, why if they get hurt at work or outside of work, right? And I just felt like I was talking until I was blue in the face, trying to convince the person on the other end of the phone or across the desk that they should love their family, that they needed more life insurance outside of work. Any of you ever felt like that, right? To where you're basically talking at the customer the entire time. You ever feel like that, right? You ever feel like that? Am I the only one here that's like, man, yeah, I basically felt like I was I imagine myself looking like I was a Smurf, right? Like I turned blue in the face. I was talking so much, trying to convince. And what eventually changed was in 2016. So up until this point, I got my start in 2009, 2010 as a producer. And then we went into agency 2014. I was still transactionally selling life insurance. It didn't feel good, but I had to keep the carrier off of my back, right? I had to hit a certain amount of apps every single month, every single year to keep the carrier off my back, right? I wanted my contract. I wanted to make some money. The problem is you don't really get paid off of apps. You get paid off of premium. And the only way you're going to write premium is if you're having better conversations with customers, right? Like it takes a lot of life insurance policies at $12, $15, $16, $20 to add up to anything meaningful on a paycheck. Is that fair? Would you guys agree with that? And quite frankly, sure, the old saying, some life insurance is better than no life insurance. But man, if all I'm talking to customers about is 100,000, 150,000, I just didn't feel good about that. Like I felt like I was cheating the customer because I wasn't having in-depth conversations around their problems, what they would want out of their life insurance plan, an adequate amount of death benefit, right? I was so focused on just get the conversation, get the $100,000 or $125,000 term in place, get it submitted and move on to the next customer. And I hated it. I hated that feeling. I literally felt like I was just like pushing products to keep a carrier or an agent off my back, right? And so if you feel that way, please know that that is a very common feeling. You just saw hundreds of people say, yep, I feel that way. I feel that way. I feel that way. And here's the thing is it's not your fault. That's all you know. That's all you've ever been taught. That's all I knew for the first 4 or 5 years of my career. I didn't know any different, right? But once I took a step back and I was like, hey, I don't feel good about this. I almost quit the industry. All right. That's a story for another day, but I almost was like, this isn't for me. But I took a step back. I started learning product knowledge. Now product knowledge can kill deals, right? But it helps you be a little bit more confident in what you're selling, what you're talking about. But I want to be clear, like product knowledge is not what converts. Conversations do. And more importantly, digging into the customer's why. So I started doing homework. I hired some coaches. I changed up my conversation to where it was less talking at the customer. And every time I felt like talking at the customer, I changed a switch in my mind to where every time I felt like I needed to explain why they needed insurance, why work was bad, whatever, how can I phrase it within a question that gets the customer to actually give me the answers, right? And when I changed that, everything changed in my career. We went from averaging $125,000 in submitted death benefit per policy to over $500,000 in death benefit per policy, right? And so today I'm going to be talking about the conversation flow from start to finish, what that looks like. I'm going to give you some exact word tracks and scripts and how to enter that conversation in the exact questions to ask. That's what today is about, right? Woo! So if you all are ready for today, let me know, right? In the comment section, let's get this going, baby. I am here for it. Drop some fire emojis if you got fire emojis. Anybody that's been part of my webinars before, you know I love some fire emojis, right? It's going to get me fired up. We're going to get rocking and rolling, all right? So if you are not ready, if you are not in peak state, I'm going to ask you to please be intentional with me over the next, I'm going to ask for 30, 45 minutes of your time. That is it. I don't want you on the phone. I don't want you on the computer. I don't want you checking your text messages or social media, right? Because if you're doing that, you're not in this. And if you're not in this, you might as well go because you're not going to get anything from it. You can't be half in and half out, right? You got to be full ass all the time, all gas, no brakes. What you give your intention to is what's going to happen. So if you want to get better at life insurance, I promise you, if you just give me the next 30 to 45 minutes, you will be feeling more confident than you were prior to this webinar, prior to this training. If anybody has ever been part of this, you know that I'm going to deliver an extreme amount of value. And so here we go. I just told you my story around how I felt terrible. And when I changed this approach, within the first 90 days of changing this approach, I wrote over $100,000 in life insurance premium and 80 life insurance policies submitted, right? That's in 90 days. The same thing I'm going to be showing you today, teaching you some of it. Now, I can't teach you the whole thing today. I'm going to be giving you bits and pieces of it, right? So what I learned during those 90 days and through training and changing my process, right, was a few things. Is number one, words matter. I want you to write this down right now. Words matter. The words I use matter. Now, what I mean by this is oftentimes in the sales role, you feel salesy or you feel sleazy. And the reason that I've found with working with over 10,000 insurance professionals across the country, right? This isn't just my experience. This is working with thousands and thousands and thousands of sales producers across the country. The number one reason why you feel salesy or sleazy is because you talk to every single customer in a general way. In a general way. So when you start to use words that specifically are going to talk to the ideal customer or that person that you are talking to, like a homeowner, like a renter, somebody that's older than 50, somebody that's young and single, right? Words matter, the types of words. So I'm going to be teaching you some of the words today that are going to help your customer when you ask them a question feel like, wow, Michael knows me. He knows my situation. He knows my pain point. He knows my problem, right, Paige? Right, Letitia? Right, Tanya? So we're going to be covering that today. Also, it's just not the words that matter. It's the questions that matter, right? So not only do words matter, the questions that you are asking your customer. And I would ask you, this is typically one of the biggest struggles I find that producers and agents have in the life insurance conversation, is knowing what questions to ask to actually help their customer self-discover that they have a problem. Would you agree with that? Would you agree that that is a pain point in your sales conversation, in your sales career, is that you're really not familiar with what questions to ask or how to get the customer actually talking about their situation and what would be important to them? Is that a struggle or pain? Amanda's like, yes. Nancy's yes. Patrick, yes. Meredith, yes. Look at all the yeses. The reason, look, I want this to be a conversation today. This is just not Michael Weaver talking at you. This is a conversation between me and you. And I want you to know, you just saw this 20, 30, 40, 50 people just said, yep, that's a struggle. That's a struggle. So you're not alone. You're not on an island by yourself, and there's nothing wrong with you. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. You're not lazy. You're not motivated. You want to be successful. You just don't know how to be successful right now. And that's what I'm going to cover today. So not only the words and the questions, but how about the conversation framework? How about the conversation framework? And that's where I want to start with this. And this is what I want. Meredith, I suffer from word vomit. Right. So one thing I said earlier that I would encourage everyone to write down or think about is any time that you get ready to talk at your customer to tell them how you can solve their problem, unless it's the presentation, unless it's the time for education, what question can you ask them to get them to vocalize what you were going to tell them, right? Yeah, Erica, everyone wants to be successful. Every single one of you, I know, wants to be successful because you showed up today. You did what 99.5% of people are not willing to do. And that is dedicate their time or your time to development, growth, and getting better. So if you haven't already, if you're with your team right now, high fives around. If you're by yourself right now, look, give yourself a pat on the back. Virtual high fives, virtual fist bumps, baby. Like, I know that you want to get better. That's why you showed up today. Most people talk about getting better. Most people talk about what they want, but they never do anything about it, right? And so I'm going to give every single one of you credit today, which is why I have a gift at the end of this for you. I'm going to give you credit. You showed up today to get better. You are investing in yourself. Even though that wasn't a monetary investment, there was no money, time, and energy, baby. I know that you're busy. I know you got things to do. I know you got calls to have. I know you have appointments to do. But you're getting better today, right? So I want to start with the conversation framework. So the conversation framework here, think about this real fast. So typically in any sales conversation, you have 5 aspects of a conversation, right? So you have the conversation starter, you have rapport building. Write these down. Conversation starter, you have rapport building, you have discovery conversation, you have the presentation, and then you have the close. Now, after the conversation, you have follow-up if you don't get a yes or a no, right? But that's generally speaking, those are the 5 pieces of a conversation framework, right? So the conversation starter is going to be your elevator pitch, your pivot in, things of that nature. On some of these conversations, if you are just cold calling someone or calling a customer, you're going to be doing some rapport building. Now, if this is a pivot from like a service transaction or you're including it in the P&C sales conversation, which I'm going to cover all 3 of those today, by the way, maybe you've already built rapport with them, right? So conversation starter, rapport building, discovery conversation, presentation, and close. Today, what we're really going to be concentrated on in today is the pivot in, all right? The pivot into the conversation and the discovery conversation. The questions to ask to get them to actually explain their problems and what they would want out of their life insurance plan. And here's the thing, what happens if we never even mention the word life insurance? Now, there is nothing wrong with mentioning the word life insurance, by the way. There's nothing wrong with that. I teach multiple approaches to bring up life insurance. Sure, saying something to the nature of, hey, Erica, before I let you off the phone, this is not what we're learning, but I'm going to give you an example. Hey, right here, this is some added value I wasn't even planning on doing. Hey, Erica, before I let you off the phone, what's your life insurance plan look like? For example, what do you have to do work? We don't have any notes on file. I apologize. That's perfectly fine. That is perfectly fine. But today, that's typically more of a general ask, right? General ask. I'm going to teach you specific words in how to talk to a homeowner, how to talk to a renter, how to talk to a single line auto that has a loan on their car, right? That's what I'm going to be focused on today. And I can only give you a couple strategies today, but it's going to help you. So here we go. Words matter, questions matter, conversation framework. I just gave you the conversation framework. And I've already told you what happened, right? When you start to use the words that matter, you have better conversations. I automatically went from feeling salesy and sleazy and a product pusher to feeling actually good about what I did, to actually feeling like, wow, I'm having conversations that matter. If this person passes away tomorrow, their family is going to be receiving a $500,000 check, $1 million check, right? They're going to be able to be fine financially. They're not going to be devastated emotionally. I never felt that way when I was selling 25,000, 50,000, 100,000. It felt amazing that customers, I wasn't just having to overcome objection after objection after objection in the life insurance conversation. I was actually having conversations where they were wanting to talk to me about life insurance. How good would that feel? So I went from feeling salesy, sleazy, product pusher to feeling, wow, I'm confident. This actually feels good. I'm fulfilled. I'm actually helping people. Oh, and I was making more money. Anybody here want to make more money? Anybody here to make the money that you not only want to make, but that you deserve? Anybody ready for that? Anybody ready for bigger commission checks, bigger bonuses? Maybe for your boss to get off your back, right? Y'all ready for this? I hope that you enjoyed today's episode and the clip of how to 4X your life insurance production and talking to homeowners. I wanted to let you know about the upcoming webinar that we have. You can also call it a Life Insurance Objections Masterclass this Thursday coming up on the 22nd. I'm going to be doing a deep dive, a masterclass on how to position yourself as a professional and set yourself up for success in any life insurance conversation you're having. So I'm not going to talk about any specific homeowners, renters, single line, none of that. I'm going to teach you how to specifically position yourself as a professional, how to navigate that conversation, how to get the customer's buy-in, and then how to easily overcome any objection that you hear in the close. So make sure you click the link below, register for the webinar or masterclass on Thursday. It's going to be at noon Central. So make sure you go ahead and get registered, and I'll see you soon.